Hello there. Welcome to Pen Positive. This is Vinod Narayan and
Hello, I'm Usha.
yeah. So last episode we spoke about communication. So I thought maybe every 2 weeks we can take up a topic and just have a chat. So this time it's about customers. So let's just talk about customers. Why are customers important? Who is a customer? And anything that comes there. What comes into your mind when you hear customer?
Customer, when anybody puts it in, I put myself there because I feel I'm also a customer. So, customer can be anybody, me, you, and also when we are making anything, any products, right? Depending on, first of all, you're trying to do things that is easy to use. And because customers are different, so we also think of about accessibility, usability, right? Because if a person is blind, they should also be able to use the product, and it should be easier for them to use it. So whenever we are thinking about anything, right, any product, or even like when you are designing something, you are keeping all of your customers in your mind while you are designing something. So for me, a customer is very important because if your product is for them and they can use it easily, then definitely you have to include them.
Okay. So if I can kind of rephrase that. So when you think about customer, one, you think about yourself
First.
being a customer.
Correct.
And then you start exploring all other possibilities of who a customer would be.
Correct.
Which where the topic of usability, accessibility, and all those points come in. So you are stepping into the shoes of a customer who might be totally different from you.
Yes.
Right. So it becomes important for us to think from the customer's point of view.
Yeah, completely. And I think that is why when a product comes up, you go to other people and test it, right? We call beta testing. So that you do it to understand how a certain category of customers are using it. They look at the behavior, even if like nowadays it's all about devices. So how you use it, which hand you hold with.
Yeah.
Because it's for left-handers, right-handers. So you have to have certain things in mind while you're developing the product, but then I think there is also an opportunity for you to make certain corrections, and that comes through your beta testing.
When I hear the word customer, I have a different thought. Different thought in the sense whatever Usha said is correct, but at the same time, initially I used to look at customer as the person who buys or pays the money.
Okay.
But then I figured out that no, it's not the person who pays the money, it is the person who uses the product.
Correct.
Because I mean, if we buy something for our kids, they are the customer. So we are the people who are actually paying the money.
Correct.
So obviously it has to be priced properly so that I can buy it. I can afford it. Not just affordability, I'm also thinking about being able to buy. For example, so when I was trying to sell a course online, I figured out that only people with credit cards could sell, could buy.
Right.
And there was a lot of people who wanted to take the course who did not have a credit card. For example, and especially I was creating the course from US, and the people who I wanted to take the course were in India. So many times, one, they did not have credit card. If they had a credit card or a debit card or whatever they have, they had some restrictions from the bank which would not allow them to buy a overseas transaction.
Correct.
So I figured out that doing all the work that I've done to create this course, people couldn't buy because I did not take care of the fact that people have to buy. there is a process for that.
You didn't do a study of your customers.
Yes. Only when I did the whole thing, there's so much time lost in that whole thing. There's so much effort that went, and you had to reinvent that whole process, because once you start learning about customers at a later stage, you find out that
Lot
this
of things.
product had to change, and then it becomes so difficult. It's not like I create some product and I keep it over there and people just come and buy. So it's so important that we have to think about customers. That's one thing. Another point is that when I think about customers, I don't think about the buying and the using alone, or something external to the company, because always we think about customers as something external to the company or us, right? When you work in a large organization, your customer is not necessarily the end user. Your customer is a lot of other people. If I'm working with another team,
Internal customers.
internal customers. So it's so important for us to look at customers. You cannot, sometimes the internal customers are such an integral part of the entire customer life cycle, that, or customer journey, that when you get this product, you want to make sure that the internal customers are working through it, because they are kind of mimicking what the external customers are.
Yeah.
So for me, the word customer is not just about business, profit, or product.
Correct.
It is about anything that I do, there is a customer on the other side.
Yes.
Any activity, any commitment, anything that I do has a customer on the other side. That's how I look at customer.
Yeah, I differentiate that between internal customer and the external customer. We have a chance to make mistake and get corrected when it's with internal customer, but we don't want that to happen with the external customer, because that's our final product that we are releasing to. So definitely I define that as an internal customer, because certain things that I owe to them, and I might be somebody's internal customer, right? So that's how I put it. That's why when you said customer, I always try to be in their shoes, so I can understand and feel, right? Because as I was giving an example of a device, how you use it, right? Even if we have certain products that is through the browser you are getting it, you want to make sure that it's not too many clicks, and it's not something that customer had to look through the whole site and see where should I click for next steps, right? So it should be less click but easy to use, and a product should be the main thing that should display and do the job.
So, for example, since I work as an agile practitioner, for me the customer are what I have to offer, my product or my coaching or my expertise. It's always the team members or the team as a whole or other teams that I work with or the organization there. That's how I go looking at the customers. I'm not saying that this is the only way of looking at it.
Yeah.
We all try to identify the way, or we all try to find a way in which we can connect to the customer in our own role.
Yes.
Whatever that is, right? If you're a marketing person, how you look at a customer is not necessarily me as an agile practitioner looks at customer. But we know that as an organization, we have some customers.
Correct.
So if I work in a company which makes vehicles, cars. So for us, when you say customer, is a customer who is driving the car, who's buying the car and driving the car, who's using the car, who might be even the passenger sitting is a customer.
Correct.
When you look at the entire product. But while that is the main customer, I also have these customers of various teams that I work with. Right. So I think that's an important that we all over our career make our own perceptions, understanding about what a customer is, who a customer is, and how, because our role in any organization is to fulfill the needs or service the customer in one way or the other, bring value to the customer.
Absolutely.
In all these things.
Yeah, like in my situation, when I look at it work, right, I have my stakeholders, right, who want to launch certain features and certain products, and then I have a customer support as well, right? So when somebody is launching, we help them with the launch process, but then we also think from the point of view of an end customer. Like if you're launching this product, how customer will know like more information about it. So there is a content that is being created. In content there might be sometimes a video which helps the user to understand the product, how to install it or register it, and how to connect the device, or whatever the product is, and then go forward from there. Say suppose they have a question, then where they go, there are certain FAQs, right, frequently asked questions, that listed out there. Sometimes the video itself gives them how to do it. And then we have to ask from a customer support. So I have my internal customers are on both sides, right, because I want to make sure less calls are coming to the customer support with problems. It should be self-serve. So the content has to be that unique and accessible, right, when you're looking for. And then we help with that. And then with the customer support, if a product is something very unique, which needs certain specification when a customer calls, then we train the customer service support also. So for that also we need to help with the material, right? The content is for both customers and the internal our customer, which is our customer support. So when I look at it, for me it's like serve everybody, right? I want to make sure that they get what they need, because if suppose a customer calls in with any problem and the customer support is struggling, that's my failure there itself, right? So that's how I look at it, that I have internal customers surrounded with me, and I might be taking help from each other, right? Like more detail on the product or how it will work. Or say sometimes there are certain defects that I bring it to the product and say, hey, customers are calling about this, are you going to fix it, or how you're going to make this, right? So I'm like in between and helping and getting help. So it's you are working in such an environment where you are serving somebody by taking from somebody,
Right.
And it's like help, not taking away anything.
When I think about customer, I look at myself as a customer. Now over the period, we buy a lot of products, right? And then we have this manual. Just you were talking about manuals and how to docs and all.
Right.
So I've seen a significant shift in the way, or significant change in the way I am treated as a customer across the products that I buy. There used to be a time when you get a product, you buy a product, then you figure out how to use it, and then you install it, and then you do it, right? Now things come pre-installed, which makes it easier. So I started reading things saying that before you call the customer support, try these things.
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure that you are able to solve the issue on your own. And this is also a cost saving thing, because every call that comes into the customer center is a cost for the company.
Correct.
And that is a cost that will in one way or the other get transferred back to the end customer in price. Or it will eat up into the profit, which will obviously, impact the company's ability to create better products.
Yes.
So they're saying that, okay, right, why don't you try this 1 to 5 things? And if that doesn't work, call the customer support. Then there's another thing that over a period of time, I figured out that they started coming another statement saying, before you return, call the customer service. Because now, like, okay, I tried it, it's not working, let me return it, right? It becomes, so the business of consumer products are so different that, so from what it was before, that you could return anything. Right? 30 days, you could, no questions asked, return, right? So there's so much returns that's happening in all these companies.
Correct.
And that's a cost. Restocking, sometimes you have restocking fees on few things, but most of the time you don't have restocking fees. And that's a cost again, which over a time will get recycled and come into the customer itself. So they're saying, no, don't return. Maybe you're trying to return because you couldn't figure out how to use it. Call us.
Yeah.
I mean, you've tried that thing, you call us, but before you return, try these things. So many times I kind of try to do that things, because I know that if I go ahead and return it, sometimes I do return. I'm not saying that I don't return products. I do return products, but I always know when I return a product, I'm adding a cost.
You're conscious about.
Yeah, I'm adding a cost somewhere, which maybe I will, at some point in my customer journey, I will have to pay a part of that price.
Yeah.
So I think at the same time, when you think about customers, I also try to be a responsible customer. How do I be a responsible customer? And each of us, I think it's important for us to even look
Think
at
from
ourselves
that
as a
point.
responsible customer, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's matter of educating the customer, right? Like customer is not trying to do any harm to you, but they just don't know. So I think it's our or the company's responsibility to provide them those avenues, right? Like as I was saying, when we launch something, there is a content, right? You can go on the website and say, suppose you are not able to understand how to do it and you have certain questions, you don't have to customer call, or you can go through the help pages, right, which should be very easily accessible to you, and you can try to get solved there. If not that, then go to the chat bot, right? You can chat to people on the, so that it's not calling the customer support directly, but then you, without talking to a customer support, you are trying to solve the problem if it is. And if suppose you figure out like, okay, this is not doable, or a part of it was not made with this product, then you obviously have a reason to call the support. But I think most of the companies nowadays are going through where self-serve, right? Like read your manual or look at the video, because nowadays, like reading may be boring for people, so video is something that you can quickly look at it, you can go back and go forward and solve your thing. So that's one of the way I feel, and I think customer education is one aspect, which is another responsibility.
And I think when we talk about being a responsible customer, today as a customer, we have a lot of power, social media and all those things, and people. If you have more followers, if you have more reach in social media, you become a customer who can really influence, and even you can say something that can impact a company, impact a product which makes it more important for us to be responsible. Have I done everything before I raise a complaint?
Correct.
And yes, maybe my complaint would be genuine, and maybe sometimes the company will not take care of it. Maybe the product is not good. Maybe I have to go into social media, go to the public and say I have a problem. But am I if I were to evaluate myself, am I being a responsible customer is a question that I often keep asking myself. And even then, sometimes the human in me gets emotional and I act on my emotion, and later I figure out that, but sometimes you can't take back what damage that you
Yeah.
have done on certain products. And this is my thought on responsible being a responsible customer. We started with a customer journey, but at least at the end of the day, I think before we started addressing customers with a product, we were customers. So I think that's where fundamentally we are a customer before we think about a customer of ours, right?
Yeah, and I think the as things are progressing, as we are becoming more aware, right, inclusiveness is something that is kicking in, because now we make any product, we think of everyone, not just people, the normal people who are going to work, or normal people who are doing certain things, right? It's sometimes for the kids, right? And kids, all types of, there are people who might be like they have certain speech related issues, or maybe they are not able to walk, right? So there are so many things. So when you are building a product, you have to think of everyone, like how, if a person is of this nature, how they will use it. And I think that inclusiveness is what the statement that they deliver to, right? Like, hey, we think of everybody. And I think so that makes the customer to think about the company and the product. Like, they are making certain things, thinking of us as well. So might as well take a look at it, take effort to how well we can use it. But yeah, if there is a point where you are not able to, if the product is not easy to use, then getting help is always good before putting a review or a comment, or bashing anything on that one.
Sure. That makes sense. So I think that's a good segue for us to kind of end this episode and probably think about the next episode. And I think inclusiveness is an interesting topic. Maybe we'll think about it and maybe we'll talk about it next episode. You guys take care. We will see you next episode. I think we're going to probably have this every 2 weeks. So, thank you.
Thank you. If you have any other topics, you can suggest in the comment.
Yes. Thank you.